Sunday, the great theme of the readings was marriage. And specifically in the gospel, Jesus addressed the theme of the indissolubility of marriage. And in today's gospel, or the theme of today's readings, is also a contentious subject, the subject of riches and how we're supposed to relate with wealth. And in today's gospel, we see two characters that relate with riches in very different ways. On one hand, we have the rich man, and on the other hand, we have Peter and the apostles who have left everything and followed Jesus. So in today's homily, my intention is to analyze the rich man, but also to analyze Peter, so we can see two different, distinct approaches to wealth, so that each one of us today here can make a self-evaluation and can say, who do I look more like? The rich man or Peter? Who represents me better? The rich man or Peter? So let's talk about the rich man first. And I have a hypothesis about the rich man. My hypothesis is that the rich man, he's a charlatan. That's my sense. Bear with me, I'm going to make my case. He comes running before Jesus, and he kneels down before him. To me, he's putting up a show. He wants everyone to see him and say, oh, who is this great humble guy? So, he asks, Lord, what do I have to do to inherit eternal life? And Jesus says, follow the commandments. And he starts enumerating the commandments. And what is the response of the charlatan? I've done this perfectly from my youth. Come on. Really? You never failed? You did it perfectly your whole life? Who can say, I follow the commandments my whole life from my youth perfectly? So what is my sense? What is my take on the rich man? He's not really looking for an answer from Jesus. He's not really looking for the Lord to tell him how to inherit eternal life. I think he's going to the Lord to receive confirmation of his own holiness. And I think the conversation starts really well for him, because Jesus says the commandments and he says, I've done this perfectly. But something really beautiful happens. My sense is that Jesus sees through him. And Jesus sees what's going on his heart. Like many times Jesus sees what's going on in our heart. And I think he's going to really be spot on, and he's going to see where the charlatan is really failing. And that's when Jesus is going to say, you're missing one thing. Sell everything, give it to the poor, and then come follow me. So this rich man, he had everything. He was very wealthy. He was, according to on his own terms, he was morally perfect. He was looking from Jesus confirmation of his own holiness and perfection. How does that passage end? It's really sad. He says he went sad because he had many riches. Now let's take a look at Peter. And I think that Peter is exactly the opposite than the rich man. Peter, he wasn't wealthy. He was a fisherman. My sense is that Peter was an average Joe. As much as you can get an average Joe, Peter was one of those guys. He was a normal, down-to-earth person. Nothing special. Normal fisherman. Was Peter perfect? Could Peter say, I always follow the commandments? Do you remember that moment when they're in the Sea of Galilee and Jesus calls Peter and he tells him, follow me, now you're going to be a fisherman? Who remembers what was the reaction of Peter? Peter said, Stay away from me because I'm a sinner. So while the rich man is a slick guy, he does everything perfect and he's wealthy, Peter is the average Joe who also recognized himself as a sinner. So when Jesus calls him, what is his reaction? He leaves the nets and follows him. And what does Peter receive when he follows him? Today Jesus tells him, you will receive 100-fold for everything that you've left. And today, brothers and sisters, I want to share with you something from my own personal testimony. I can tell you something. I think that what Jesus says today is absolutely true. I think that a man that gives up everything for the Lord receives 100-fold of everything that he left. And I'm going to show you that this is true. So, I left my mother and my father the day that I entered religious life. And I received 100-fold mothers and fathers. You know, last week or this week I was sick. And someone went and bought me a soup because I was having a bad time. So my moms multiplied. I gave up on having children. And in this parish, I didn't receive 100-fold. I had 200-fold of children. And you know what's beautiful? I don't have to change diapers. I don't have to wake up in the evenings. But I truly feel that I received 200-fold in children. The gospel also says, if you leave your house, you will receive 100-fold in houses. And in my religious community, I have houses in Spain, in Uruguay, California, Ecuador, Lima. I truly received 100-fold in houses. So today it's beautiful to see that Peter, the average Joe, the sinner, he gave up everything that he had, and he truly received 100-fold. So let me finish with this. October is the month of stewardship in our parish. So everyone here will be invited to pledge their time, their treasure, and their talents. So you know what's my sense? Each one of you will have a chance to make a decision. Do you want to be like the rich man? Or do you want to be like Peter? You know what's the attitude of the rich man? The attitude of the rich man is this: everything in my life is perfect. Don't move anything around. Don't ask me to leave everything and follow you, because my life is really, really nice as it is. What's my sense? That's the attitude of Peter. Peter, he doesn't say it this way, but what he's saying is, what little I have, everything I have, is for the Lord. So today, or this week, when you have the time to pledge, are you going to be like the rich man? Don't touch this. This is nice. Don't touch my treasure. Don't touch my time. Don't touch my talents. I like it the way it is. Or are you going to be like Peter that says, everything is for you. Whatever you ask from me, I'm willing to do. And I just want to remind you, when you choose to keep things for yourself, like the rich man, the outcome is that you feel sad and you keep only what little you have for yourself. But look at Peter, look at me. When you give up on everything, you receive 100-fold, and you receive the great joy of giving away your life. So today, you choose. What attitude do you want to have before your wealth? What attitude do you want to have before your treasure? Do you want to be the rich man, or do you want to be Peter?